Hello, I am live and I'm so excited because today it was kind of an unexpected hop on here on YouTube because I just felt the need to say something. So I'm like, okay, when I have that need, I know that there's a message inside of me that needs to be shared. And I'm going to share 3 messages with you today. And I have a really cool way of doing that. Now, I'm going to record this just in case I create this as one of my podcast episodes. I don't know how it's going to go. I don't know what the topic's going to be totally. So I'm just going to click record for my podcast, and this might end up in another quantum timeline. It might be on my podcast, so we'll see. Okay, so what I'm going to do today for something really cool. I have created these cards of different topics, tons of different topics of different lessons that I've learned in the past and different things that I want to teach about and just to shed light on. And then, so I'm going to pull 2 of these cards. So that'll be 2 topics that we need to hear. This is kind of like my own tarot deck. And then I actually have an actual tarot deck that I'm going to be pulling from. And this is the message that we all need to hear right now. And that is what I'm channeling. So I'm just going to take a second to tap into anyone's energy who may be listening right now or who may be listening to this episode at all ever in the future. And I want to tap into my intuition and my energy and your energy for what is needed to come through. Not a psychic. I use my intuition and energy in order to channel what needs to be said. I like to tap into an energy that's not, it's kind of hard to describe. It's more of just like a universal, it's kind of like the iCloud in iTunes. It stores all this information and I just kind of tap into this, like the information that I need, if that makes sense. Okay. All right, so I'm going to click record here and see what I come up with here. Okay. Thank you, entities, energies, spirits, elements, angels, ancestors, for guiding us through this channeling and informational session. Thank you. Not going to look at what card I'm going to pull. You might be like, what is this crazy girl doing? Just go with it. Just go with it. Just go with it. Okay. All right, first card. What is it? Turn jealousy into inspiration. That's so funny because this was at the top of the deck when I first picked it up today. Okay, so this is one of the 3 messages today. I know it's backwards, I think, for you. Turn jealousy into inspiration. Okay, so this has been a message or a lesson that I received, I think more so in the year 2019. That was kind of the theme for me was, and still to this day, always learning and deepening my embodiment of this message of why it is so important when we feel jealous. We have to kind of expand outside of that feeling of jealousy, because what is that feeling? It's not a good feeling. It's actually a really negative type of feeling where it's almost anger that you don't have something that you want. But it's really cool because if we take jealousy and turn it into, we can transmute it into inspiration. It doesn't happen naturally at first, but when you become aware of it, it will happen more easily the more you work with yourself and the more aware that you are and the more, what do they say, woke you are these days. I like saying that because I feel woke, I feel like awakened. So the more woke you are to yourself and your awareness and how you're feeling in regards to feeling jealous towards someone else, it is so important to step back and to say, okay, I know that I've been feeling this feeling of jealousy. It's been a feeling that I've experienced my whole life, from being on the playground when the boys were chasing this other girl and not me, or my sister got all the attention growing up, or all of these things that we've experienced in our life. We feel it as jealousy, which is not a good feeling. It's a feeling of want, and it's also a feeling of lack, because when you're feeling jealous, that's actually the vibration that you don't have something that you want. And guess what jealousy does? It repels anything that you're trying to manifest. So that is a very key in manifesting, is making sure that jealousy is not a part of your vibration, because that is repelling anything that you will ever want just by being jealous or want. It's kind of, and it almost seems backward when you look at someone, you're like, oh, I want that too. Like, man, like, I wish that I could have that. And, why does she get that and I don't get that? And what you're doing is you're projecting a feeling of unworthiness onto someone else. You're actually projecting out into the universe that you don't deserve what you're jealous of, because your energy is repelling it, because you're saying, ugh, I don't feel good when I see someone experiencing what I want to experience. But when it comes to manifestation, how do you combat this? You turn it into inspiration. Again, it doesn't happen overnight, but starting to be aware of this feeling of jealousy and talking to yourself when you're experiencing this, you can bring yourself back down and ground yourself and say, okay, hold on. I know this is something that I've been feeling, but let me transmute this. When you feel inspiration, when you see that woman driving the car that you've been dreaming about, you've been vision boarding about, you've been dying to have this car for so long. This is just an example, obviously. And you see someone driving the car, instead of saying, oh, what a bitch, I want that car. How come she gets it and I don't? Instead of saying that, be like, oh my God, that is my car. That woman, I'm going to be just like her, or I am so inspired that I'm seeing this sign, this synchronicity in front of my face that this car is in my destiny. This is just proof that anyone can get what they want. And so being on that vibration is telling the universe, okay, I am also on that vibration. I'm worthy of being on that vibration. I'm worthy of having that car, not, ew, I can't believe someone else has that car and I don't, because the universe doesn't hear you or I. It's just a feeling. The universe hears or feels the feeling that you feel when you see that car. And if it's a negative vibration, then the universe is going to be like, oh, we don't want to give Cassie that car because she feels really negative when she sees it. So we don't want to give it to her. So there's blockages that you're creating. But whereas if you say, I'm so inspired, I'm so aligned, all of these signs are telling me that the universe has my back and is sending me this car, I'm so fucking pumped. The universe will move mountains and will create different scenarios in your life in order for you to reach that car faster. You're breaking down those barriers versus building them up. And that's why it's so important to turn jealousy into inspiration. And that is lesson 1. Okay, cool. Next lesson. All right, what's this going to be? I wrote these months ago, so I don't even remember what I wrote. Okay. Oh, interesting. Senses were given to us for survival and many times distract us from our truest selves. Again, I think this is backwards for you. Senses were given to us for survival and many times distract us from ourselves. This message from a lot of different people, just said in different ways. And that's why it's a truth that is within me, because it's not exact words that someone else has said, but it's a compilation of a message that I've received that has resonated and has felt harmonious to my energy. And it's it's totally rings true to me. Not that's an opinion and I don't believe it. That's like become a truth for me. So also I have written on the back, your five senses will also bring you pleasure, but only when we lead our senses and don't fall victim to shiny object syndrome. Okay, so our five senses are created and we have them as humans so we can experience this world, so we can feel and hold and touch and see and listen and eat things. But think about it. Our senses are some of the things that trip us up the most. And these are the things that we don't even have to think about using. We open up and we see. We wake up and we see. We walk into the kitchen, we smell something. We feel a certain way when we wake up from a really bad dream. It's a feeling, or I guess that's a different kind of feeling, I guess. But like, getting this blanket because it's so cozy and I want to be cozy. It's the experience. Our five senses allow us to create a particular experience in this world, and it allows us to connect to each other and to this world in the 3D. So it's the three-dimensional sensations is our five senses. But they can totally distract us from what our true mission and our true purpose is. And that is a very low vibration or a very 3D, just kind of what most people are living in. This kind of, I don't know how else to say it besides this 3D type of way of life. There's other ways to expand our consciousness outside of the 3D. But what I'm trying to say is most people don't know how to do that, mostly because we have these five senses and we're distracted by what's in front of our faces and what we are smelling and the things that we're eating. And that's how we escape a lot of the times in life from our own reality is, okay, at least I have lunchtime to look forward to. I'm going to eat the biggest sub. I'm so hungry. What is that giving you? It's giving your taste and even like I guess a feeling part of you. It makes it feel comforted. Like our senses are there to kind of tell us when we're uncomfortable or comfortable. And when we're not comfortable, we tend to reach for things that make us feel comfortable, which sometimes aren't for our greatest good. Emotional eating is a huge aspect of this. And that's something I love to teach about emotional eating is because I dealt with it for over a decade. I lived in the 3D world so plainly that I wasn't able to disconnect from what I was seeing, touching, looking at in the mirror. I was so attached to just like this 3D world that I couldn't go beyond that. I couldn't ascend into a greater consciousness. And it held me back, which actually brought me into a depression. And it always comes back to being depressed, these types of symptoms that I have felt in the past, or these types of coping mechanisms. It's these cards. It's these lessons that I've learned. And it's just becoming one with a higher frequency, which is not possible when you're wrapped up in your senses. So if there's a job that you have to do, but you hate seeing the same people every day or talking to the same people every day, and you're in that frequency of hating doing that, then you're going to do either A, what it takes to get out of that circumstance because you don't like what you see or what you hear, or you're going to be stuck in it and you're just going to be complaining about it or not liking it because you're allowing your senses to take over. You're not rising above what's happening in your external world. So I guess this really is a great message that we shouldn't be super attached to the external world. And we need to make sure we tap into our internal world more often in order to find a balanced life, in order to find the balance between soul and human. Because when we're so wrapped up in our humanness, That is when we lose ourselves. It again sounds kind of backwards because we are humans and it's great to be human. It's a beautiful experience. But when there's only this one dimension that you're living in, which is this 3D world, which is very just objects and materialistic and senses, your 5 senses. Oh, I smell Subway. I need to get it now. I live right next to Subway, by the way, and right across the street from a pizza place. If I was run by my senses, I would be eating pizza and subs every day. But my intuition has told me that when I'm not feeling so well, it's mostly because I'm eating certain things. So it's rising above your senses and understanding that there's more to life than just what we see and what we feel and what we can touch and what we can smell. Does that make sense? Because that's a really cool phenomenon if you've never heard that before. So again, 1, turn jealousy into inspiration. This is a very strong message that you need to listen to right now. Even if it shows up in aspects of your life that you weren't even aware of, start being aware and things will shift and you'll manifest more when you do that. 2, do not be ruled by the 5 senses. Go internal rather than focusing external. And this is especially important if you're experiencing anxiety or depression, because usually that is stemming from not being happy with your outside world or having a past where your outside world has done you wrong over and over again. And you don't need to play a victim anymore. You can come out of that stronger than ever. And it's really empowering when you think like this. Okay, so those were 2 messages that I have picked from a deck of cards that I created in the past. I will be pulling from these more. I'll be adding more topics to this because I love talking about certain things when I'm just kind of prompted with the idea of it. That's kind of how I work best. Okay. And now for our last message for humanity, I'm going to be pulling from this tarot deck. Again, I'm channeling just a universal energy of what needs to be learned or focused on right now in order for us as a collective to up level and to feel better and to live happier, healthier, greater, stress-free lives. That is what I'm channeling here when I'm picking a card for us. I hope you're still with me. This is really fun. Okay, shuffling the cards, shuffling the tarot deck. Thank you, Tarot deck, for allowing us to hear a message that we are meant to hear today. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Okay, I got a card. Interesting. Okay, this is a card I don't think I've ever pulled before. Usually when I pull cards, I tend to pull the same card over and over again. Typically, it's probably because I'm pulling it for me. This is for the collective. It's not just for me. Turtle. It's the turtle card. Okay, so the turtle card is a water sign. So it's in this book, there's 4 different elements or so. There might be 5 with like another dimensional element. But this is the water element. So let's see what the turtle has to say for us. Okay, this is going to be really interesting. Wow. Okay. Again, this is a message for you if you're listening to this right now. So the turtle represents ancient soul, grounded, trusting, and at home in the self. This is so perfect. Okay, ready? It is wonderful to be in the presence of a turtle personality. Like the beaver, the turtle has a strong relationship with the earth and water elements simultaneously. This helps to ground and connect them to the deeper truths of life, no matter where their travels lead them. Turtle energy is behind all great writers and storytellers as they collect life experiences under their shells for later use. The most potent turtle energy helps us close all the other books and begin to tell our own truth tale. So when the turtle energy is in balance, you will feel peaceful, adventurous, and productive. When it's out of balance, it will feel like you're slowing down to a halt. And in order to bring the turtle energy back into balance, you need an adventure. So if you're being called to an adventure right now, or if you get a random call from friends, hey, I want to do this, or let's do that, and you're kind of like, don't feel like it, but maybe I should, do it. Now is the time to go on an adventure. Now is the time to dive deep into your turtle energy. And it is so cool that the turtle represents groundedness and trusting and being at home in yourself. It literally goes back to connecting to your internal world versus focusing on your external world. How funny is that I pulled this card right after I talked about that? It's really taking in everything that you have already experienced in your life, kind of coming into under your shell, which is kind of like us being in quarantine and away from other people, and allowing our stories to inspire ourselves and inspire other people through whatever we create or whatever adventure we decide to go on. And when you follow these instincts, you will be more apt to inspire yourself, which in turn will cause a ripple effect to inspire other people. This is so cool. And I hope that you are really taking this in today because it's super important. This message is for you if you are listening to this right now. So I'm going to go over the 3 messages before we move on with the day. All right. 1, turn jealousy into inspiration. 2, don't get wrapped up in your 5 senses. Go inward. And 3, go on an adventure and channel your turtle energy, which means you're able to feel at home within your own shell. Many people get caught up in horrible relationships or, again, in the external world to try to find comfort and peace when they can't turn inward and find peace there. When you can't find peace in your own shell, in your own home, how are you supposed to bring peace to others? How are you supposed to find peace in the outside world? How are you supposed to react when something really bad happens? It's going to be horrendous. But when you find inner peace and a deep inner knowing and trust, you will be able to ascend to another dimension. And I'm talking your consciousness. You'll be able to rise above and you'll be able to discern what is true for you and what's not. So I really recommend that you follow these 3 messages today and start incorporating them into your life and start becoming aware of them. Just be aware of them. I hope this resonated with you today. I'm so excited to be going live on YouTube. This is so much fun for me. I just feel the need to talk more directly to people, and this is the perfect way to do it. So I hope that this little message here does something for you today and moving forward. There's a lot more where this came from. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, I know you see my kitty blanket in the back. Yeah, I'm not trying to hide anymore. I'm just going to be myself, and you can join me for that ride if you choose. Okay? Thanks for checking in with me. Thanks for watching this video or listening to my podcast. Yes, this is going to be a podcast episode. And I will talk to you next time. Thank you so much.